New NBA show here on the Earnestly podcast. I'm your host, Ernest E.J. Christian, coming to you, recording this on April 23rd, 2026, about 11:18 in the morning. Joined, of course, every single week we do this with our guy, NBA analyst, author, Greg Hrinya. Greg, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
I love the respect. I love the respect you have for the crowd. Like you wait for them to let them sit down and say, "Hey, hi, how you doing?" Nice to meet you.
Yeah, let them finish their thought.
Yeah, I would say follow you on X, but you had an incident on X actually recently.
Yeah, my account got hacked, and
it got hacked, bro.
I filed a claim, and it seems to be shut down now. So I guess Twitter's maybe finally looking into it. So.
Yeah, it literally flipped into a hack that was asking for because it ended up sending me a thing on there asking to vote for something on there.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't think that's Greg. Let me ask Greg real quick. Hey, did you ask me to vote something for you? Because I want to help you out if you want me to help you out. But no, don't do that. No, that's not.
From the research I've done, it takes them a couple weeks if I get it back at all. But at least I went on with a different account and I saw that they closed down the account, so at least it shouldn't be sending anything to anyone anymore.
That means that they'll work on it then, most likely. So.
Yeah, hopefully that means that they're going to give me access back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't follow Greg on X just yet because his profile has been shut down until further notice.
Yeah,
there you go. Anyway, it is Thursday. We are now about 5 days into the NBA playoffs. Very interesting things going on here. That's nothing really that's really stood out to me. We'll get to that in a second. But we did give good letter grades for the two teams that lost in the play-in last week, and I don't want to leave these last two teams out. I know one team we're going to go a little bit longer in a second about their future because a lot of things going on there that affects the next year, 5 years of this team. So let's get to the first team here. Just get out of the way. The Charlotte Hornets, who lost in the play-in to Orlando on Friday. What letter grade are you giving them? Quick.
I'll give them an A-. I thought that from where they were starting the year, tough start, didn't have high expectations. For the last 3 quarters of the season, they were one of the 5 best teams in the league. They just got off to such a terrible start. So I think you can look at their roster and say, oh, they have Con Knipple and Brandon Miller. Like, we know they have them. They have another lottery pick this year. We'll see what happens with LaMelo Ball. I'm assuming they're going to re-sign Kobe White, but They have a lot of options. They have a lot of flexibility, and they're definitely a team on the rise and overachieved with lots of options. So that's good in my book, even though it ended with a thud.
It ended with a thud. I'm actually kind of surprised they lost to Orlando, and not only that, in the way they lost. Honestly, I thought
it's the way they lost.
because they were red hot coming to the play-in. Like they were red hot. They were one of the hottest teams in the league the second half of the year. That being said, though, first of all. The fact and look, you and I may disagree on this whole is the East really that good this year? But the fact of the matter is, when you have 10 teams in the Eastern Conference, something I have not seen probably in my lifetime, watching 37 years of basketball, it's pretty sick actually to be a winning record in that conference. I think it's pretty awesome. Number one, number two, they turned it around in real time. It wasn't one of those things where they acquired a big whale and then now figure it out. No, they did. This was on the fly. And they figured it out. I gave him an A. I mean, you have to give them credit for what they did here. Now, obviously, I have a lot of feelings about the team where they should go. Like I'm
Yeah.
you and I are on the same page. We do not like LaMelo Ball whatsoever. He is not. I think he's more of a detriment to that team. In fact, he should have lost in that Miami game first and foremost. Some of the most bad shot taking in that game, and yeah, he got bailed out by the winning layup. But listen, if Bam Adebayo finished that game, there's no doubt that he won that game.
Yeah, the way that he played in both playing games was not inspiring and didn't make me think that at any point he's learned how to play winning basketball. I mean,
Yeah,
they had
exactly.
some great regular season, but it's like these are playoff games essentially. And he basically reverted back to what he was doing in previous years, so the games didn't matter, and it was just the one-legged, step back 3-pointers that weren't even close. And it's like, this is the playoffs. There has to be more of a purpose. And so that was concerning a little bit, I would say, in terms of, is he the guy that you want running point for you for the next 5-10 years, especially when you've got two really good wing players in Knipple and Brandon Miller, who could be the foundation of something really good.
Right. The problem is, here's the problem though. Like, Charlotte isn't necessarily a market that that could acquire stars or even like high level players. They're not necessarily a quote unquote sexy market. So it is complicated sense where like, okay, do you rub this kid who's probably a top 40 player in the league, but there's the potential there if he grows up a little bit, or do you just say fuck it, just pull the plug and just like take a chance? I mean, you hit on Concanipple, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I just think there's more bad than good at this point now, and I'm one of those people that gave him a chance. I'm like, now you watch him the last 2 years especially, I'm like, he's just not a winning player, dude. He's just not someone that's gonna win game for you in the end. They won games this year in spite of him, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah, they kept his minutes down, and I think that they said that was to keep him healthy. But I think really it's like by first half of the season you're playing Colin Sexton, and you trade him, you get Kobe White. I think part of that is you get a different look at guard and probably a better look, and so they weren't playing him 38 minutes a game. They were keeping him to 28, 29 minutes.
Right.
And that probably had a lot to do with why they were so successful.
And that's by design. That is by design. So good job by Charlotte this year. Good season for a team that we didn't even think we on the radar for a playing spot. Yeah. So anyway, and then the last team here, I'm going to go along on this one because there's a lot going on this team. Before we get into the future, let's sort the grade first for this year. The Golden State Warriors, who lost in playing to the Phoenix Suns.
I mean, I C-, I guess. I mean, they still have Curry, so I mean, I guess that'll always be an attraction, and they have all their picks. So I mean, they have a little bit of flexibility, but given that Jimmy Butler's hurt, Draymond's old. I mean, Steph and Jimmy are old too, but the Steve Kerr stuff, I mean, like, that's not necessarily a surprise. I mean, you've seen it with good baseball teams before, good football teams. Sometimes, like with Mike Tomlin with Pittsburgh, sometimes teams just need a new voice. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kerr's not the coach next year. But they have all their picks, so they can still make a swing if that's what they want to do. I don't know if that's what they're going to want to do, though. I don't know if they're going to want to make a short-sighted move using assets when, given the age of all their players, it's probably better served that they get more of like a developmental coach and ride it out. But is that something that Steph wants to sign up for? And I really couldn't see him in another uniform. Granted, same with Giannis. Like Giannis, Steph, like it would be hard seeing those guys in another uniform. Steph, I guess more so, but they still have him on the roster. They still have all their picks. So, I mean, it's not completely bleak, but, they're old.
Let's unpack real quick. Okay, well, first off, let me start my grade first. I'm like, this is tough because you want to grade the season, be fair, but also understand, okay, the circumstances that happened this year with Jimmy Butler getting hurt and everything. Even Steph missed time this year too. On top of that, I gave him a C- also. I wanted to go lower, but I have to bake in the Butler injury. I have to bake in the Steph injury. Draymond missed time also too. They had injuries across the board, so I have to be fair. So I want C- as well too. Having said that, let's go. Steve Kerr is expected to not return to the team. We've kind of already danced over that topic on this show for the last year or so, that it's very possible that he may be gone. And for myriad of reasons. Number one, he's had some health issues through the years. That's kept him restricted and whatnot. And then you have the changing of the guard kind of thing. Like they've gone when they won the title 2022. They got a reprieve there. And then I tell you, when they lost 2023 to the Lakers in the second round of playoffs, that was the sign because they had a really good team that could have won another title or two. But Clay got older before our very eyes. The pieces around them were not good enough. You extend Draymond to a new contract. And look, Draymond's a special player. It is what it is. But is he worth that kind of money? For the Warriors, maybe. Not for any other team, though. And meanwhile, you have Steph. And Steph is still Steph. Steph to me, is still top 10 player in the league. Still top 10 player in the league. He's still that good. When healthy, of course. But this is complicated now because now we're stripping away not just players like Clay. Draymond, he might come back next year, but why would you sign him if you're trying to go another direction? And now the coach is going to be going most likely. So now you have a situation, and Butler may not be back at all because, he has 1 year in his contract, but that Achilles injury is going to be out at least a year. So the earliest he gets back next year is going to be what March, April.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably looking at like the All-Star game after the All-Star game.
Yeah, and by then, but by then the team's already stripped apart right at that point, most likely. So
yeah, I mean, maybe he's a guy that's used as trade bait with some of those picks if they choose to rebuild around Steph. But if not,
but then if you do that
in the season for him to help you.
Here's the question though: what does Steph want? Steph's 37 years old now. Steph is still phenomenal. he's literally him and LeBron are kind of the same player in the sense that they're getting older, but they're still effective. And I think you can still build around Steph. Maybe not the number one guy anymore, but maybe a 1A, 1B. Because his shooting is certainly an equalizer. He's still in great shape. But if you're the Warriors now, do you stay on the gas now? Because here's the thing. Steve Kerr's gone, most likely. It's one thing if Steve Kerr was here. Okay, you continue to build on the program going forward. The program's in place. You just bring in players in there and you add to what you have there. But Steve Kerr is going to be gone. So now Steph Curry is the only lineage left now of this core. Assuming Draymond Green is gone as well too, which I don't know if they will sign him. I don't know. We'll see. What do you do? This is tough.
I mean, I don't see Steph leaving. I mean, it'd be pretty weird to see him go. Like where's he going to go, to Toronto or Charlotte? I mean, I guess Charlotte. He has roots with. That would be interesting, but it's like.
They're an ascending team. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
it does make some sense.
Does he want to spend the last 2 years of his career, let's say, somewhere else when he's built this humongous legacy? I mean, it's like, the same question you asked for Giannis, just that Giannis is younger. The fact that Steph is in the twilight of his career, it would be like if LeBron had spent his entire career in Cleveland and now all of a sudden he's like, oh, maybe I'll leave now. I mean, it would be weird, but I mean, I don't really see a pathway forward for Golden State to be, competing for a title with, anytime soon, just given how good OKC is, San Antonio, Denver not going anywhere. The top of the West is pretty strong. So I really don't see a pathway for them.
If Steph wants to stay, which I think he does, I believe that, you do have to keep trying to win, though. Like, and he has to put his thing. Does Steph Curry value more titles? Is the question. Like, I know if I'm like LeBron James or if I'm another player of that ilk, I'm valuing more titles, obviously. But to do that, there's moves have to be made, and you have to apply pressure to the front office. Do I see Steph Curry doing that necessarily? I don't know. Like, he's happy in Golden State. He has his family's there. He's built a legacy there. It means I know for a fact it means something to be there for his entire career. But is that a priority? You're juggling two things here. Dwayne Wade, for example, Dwayne Wade wanted to stay in Miami. It was a decision by the front office to not pay him X amount of dollars. Dwayne Wade made a principled decision to leave. It didn't work out, obviously, but Dwayne Wade would have been in Miami Heat for his entire career had Pat Riley, decide to give him the money he wanted. So does Steph Curry feel principled enough to stay for a title, to build to win a title here or elsewhere? That's tough, man. I'm with you. I think he wants to stay in Golden State long term. Without question.
It depends on what motivates him. If he wants to win another title, then he's probably going to have to leave. But I mean, at this stage of his career, wouldn't it be more impactful to say, I played my entire career with Golden State, won 4 titles. numerous accolades, best shooter in the history of the game. It's like he has all those accolades in Golden State. Do you then want to spend the last 2 years somewhere else? Now, granted, Toronto or Charlotte might be appealing because he has some roots there from when his dad was playing, but I think it's a better story if he stays in Golden State.
Better story, and I also think the idea of him going home is a little overrated too. Also, because he has roots there, but he has roots now in Golden State. He has actual roots of success there, and he's built a legacy in Golden State. If you're the Warriors, and I think you and I touched on this actually during it was during the Butler injury when it happened back in January. The options for the Warriors moving forward. Okay, so if you're Golden State, Steve Kerr out the door probably, bring in Coach Woodward. If the goal is to keep Steph Curry happy and to win titles here in Golden State, there are options to make here on the table. And you said they have picks to play well with. Okay, so they traded Kuminga obviously during the year. Okay, got back some picks, I believe. You still have the Giannis thing hammer on heads. The Giannis things. I expect Golden State to be in the Giannis sweepstakes if indeed they stay on the gas to try to win titles. There's also the LeBron factor. LeBron, I don't expect to be back in LA next year. You can go cheap. That'd be cheaper to get LeBron out. And obviously LeBron's 41 years old, but LeBron is still a really good player even at 41 years old. You can still go after LeBron. There are still valuable options out there for the Warriors to stay to keep Steph Curry whole for another few years. I just don't know. But even with those moves, though, I don't think they're going to be good enough to beat OKC or San Antonio. That's my opinion. But you got to try. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is you go on State and Steph wants to win. You got to go after Giannis now. Go for broke. You have to go after, even until that's respect LeBron James at 41 years old. You got even Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's on the table also too. So there are options for Golden State to still keep this thing whole somewhat. But you have to let Draymond walk also too. Draymond can't be back here.
Yeah, I mean, is there a scenario where you trade for Kawhi Leonard and add LeBron on like the mid-level or something like that, and then you reshape your team that way? Possibly. Because I feel like a Giannis trade, you're probably going to have to give up all your picks and everything, and then you get super old. You might not have to give up as much for Kawhi. I also don't know what's going to happen with Kawhi's contract, given
the situation,
the aspiration situation, and them looking into it and all that stuff. So, I mean, there's a possibility that gets voided. I'm not saying it will, but I mean, there's a possibility. But let's say that he is traded. I think 2 picks is more than reasonable. Whereas for Giannis, I mean, Milwaukee's going to want 4 or 5 picks and other players.
True, but doesn't Giannis's value diminish more and more the closer we get to his contract? Like, we're now entering the last year's contract after this year.
Yeah, but you also have to figure there's probably going to be a whole bunch of teams in it. So that's where you're going to get a bidding war if you can get him to sign on with one of those teams. If Golden State, if Minnesota, if Miami, if New York, I mean, if all those teams are in it, you're then going to have to outbid like the next highest bid. You have to be just a little better than that. So, and I don't think New York's bid is as terrible as people might think, because if you're trading Anunoby and Towns, I mean, I think those are 2 really good players.
Yeah.
And you could probably flip Anunoby to a team like Portland and get all of Milwaukee's picks back, and you get all your picks in Towns. I mean,
I would say New York's the favorite to get Giannis next year if forecasting that.
Yeah, not saying any of that stuff's going to happen, just that
those forecasting things. Yeah.
Those are the kind of deals that would be on the table. And so if you're Golden State, like, okay, if that's the offer there, now we have to put, 3 picks on the table, even if it doesn't seem prudent given his contract situation and his age and his injury history. If there's other teams in on it, you're probably gonna have to outbid them unless Giannis comes out and says, I only want to play for one team.
Here's my thing. Even if you have picks, it'll cost you a lot of picks. Because of Steph Curry not only is valuable to your franchise as a, just the lineage and all that, he's also putting butts in seats still.
Yeah.
You have to make that whole. If it requires 3-4 picks down the road, you got to do it. You got to do it. I'm sorry. You just got to do it. And fuck the future. We'll address that when that time comes. Steph Curry is 1 of 1. You're not getting another Steph Curry ever again. So you got to extend this Curry thing. So it requires getting Giannis to compete. Hell, I see a scenario where you trade for Giannis and you set LeBron on the mid-level.
Yeah, and I mean, look, that's on the table too. But we also have to see if Giannis is even getting traded. So
Well,
I
that's
mean,
that. Yeah, right.
because he might ultimately look at it and say, any team that I go to is gutting their depth. I'm no lock to win there, and Milwaukee's going to put this supermax contract in front of me. And from Milwaukee's standpoint, why would they do it, given
Right.
how depleted their roster is? Well, it's the same thing that you just said with Curry. He puts butts in the seats. I mean, like from a basketball economy situation, like I don't see people showing up to watch the Bucks next year if Giannis isn't there. If it's just Kevin
Yeah.
Porter, Ryan Rollins, Yaxel Landenborg, who they take with with their first round pick, and a
But I
couple.
think Milwaukee's situation is much more dire than Golden State's because at least with Curry, there's a clear neat one to stay in Golden State.
Yeah,
There's circumstances of fucking Steph Curry. Not in Giannis's case, it's just okay. Well, I don't know what I want, and he's saying two different things here. He's frustrated, yes, but okay, you could still stay and commit, but the Bucks have done things for you to help you guys out. And for the record, both franchises have done enough for both guys to win and whatnot. So the Warriors had a record high salary ever, during the peak years. So let's not start there. Kevin Durant was there for a couple of years. Come on now, but I feel like there's a desire for Steph Curry more to stay there than say Giannis. And if I'm the Warriors, you do everything you can in these next 2-3 years to keep that guy whole. If you trade for Giannis, okay, it may cost you a lot of picks. Okay, cool, I get that. But you know what? You have those guys. If you're not winning titles, you should compete for titles, and at the very least, you're still making money because you're still putting butts in seats, and your window opens again for another 3 years.
And also with Curry, I mean, he's won multiple championships. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that the desire is that like, do I need to win 5, 6, 7 championships?
Right. There's no number like he's chasing.
Whereas with Giannis, he probably feels like I have to win a second to solidify my place in the pantheon of greats.
Yeah. It's going to be a very fascinating summer. And the thing is, I'm not even sure we're going to know more of the Warriors' future until maybe next year. Because if let's see what LeBron does. And if the Giannis thing picks up, then Golden State's future becomes very, very, okay, now let's see if we can tag both these guys coming in. But this may be another year before we really know what's going on with Golden State. Because, obviously, again, Kerr leaving, which is we expect to happen, is a big part of that. Because Steve Kerr is the mastermind of that whole offense.
Yeah, and let's also see how they do in the draft lottery.
That too.
Not that they have good odds. I mean, they're down at the bottom.
Yeah.
But teams move up every year. So if they move up into the top 4 and wind up picking third, let's say, that changes the entire landscape of what they might do. They use that pick and trade all the others, so they could trade that pick and then they wouldn't have to trade anything else and get one of the better players that's available. So
yeah, being Phoenix didn't really help.
Yeah,
being Phoenix didn't really help their odds. To be honest, I actually heard it. So
yeah.
All right, let's get to the playoffs here. Like I said, I haven't really watched intently these games, and honestly, I'm gonna miss tonight also too because I got my son's recital tonight. He's doing a thing, and then I'm going to see the Michael Jackson movie tonight. So
nice.
I'm locked out for the rest of the night. I'm locked in for that. But we press on still. It's the NBA playoffs. Let's get to the East first. We'll go down East series. Big takeaway each, and we'll just unpack from there. All right, 1-8 Pistons Magic series title 1. Obviously, the first game was shocking. Orlando won that first game. Detroit came back as I expected, and I said this on my podcast on my day job that not only do I need to see Detroit win this game on game 2, I need to see a blowout. I need to see them bounce back in a big way. I need to stop points. I mean, got that last night. Your thoughts? What's your big takeaway of the series so far?
I think I'm less impressed by Detroit. Not that I'm super impressed by Orlando. I think Orlando did themselves a favor in the play-in and then in game 1. But even still, last night, Detroit only scored 98 points. So, I mean, like, I think that I'm looking at it from a big picture of, like, I still expected them to win this series, maybe even in 5 games. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 6. I think Detroit's still going to win the series.
Yeah.
With the safe money.
You had a sweep, right? I think we both had sweeps, didn't we?
Yeah.
We both had sweeps, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the fact that they score 98 points last night, not overly encouraging. And, then you look and it's like, oh, Cleveland's playing well. How would they match up with some of these other teams? How would they match up with the Celtics, Knicks? You start thinking about those things when they're struggling with Orlando. And they had a 30-3 run, which makes last night look more dominant. But basically, the Magic had a bad 6 minutes, 6 to 8 minutes of the third quarter where they just lost their composure and they just started jacking up shots, trying to throw down massive dunks, trying to change the momentum. And I thought if they had just stayed within themselves a little more, that they probably could have avoided that and the game could have been close at the end. So my whole point is that, like, I don't see Detroit like dominating this series the way that I would have liked to have seen them dominate. I mean, again, 98 points against the Magic is not something that I'm going to write home about, even though they won by double digits and went on a 30-3 run.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think the Magic are any title contender here. But I guess I'm a little impressed with what they've done, just with how bad that they were during the regular season, given their roster. But ultimately, I think Detroit's going to win. I'm just now looking ahead and saying, how does what Detroit's doing now match up to the other good teams in the East?
I think big picture right now, and I know they had a phenomenal year. I don't want to knock them, but when you have Cade's injury, of course, number one from the lung injury, he just got back literally 2 weeks ago. I will take New York over them right now. I hate saying that because New York is so untrustworthy. I'll take Boston over them right now. And I would probably 50-50 to Cleveland. Here's what I'm going to say. Let's see how they play the next 2 games in Orlando. I want to see the dog I saw all year long. I want to see the 60-win team that I saw all year long. That was actually consistent. And even without Cade, no consistent. Yeah, the 98 points, a little concerning, big picture. Game 1 loss, a little shell shock there. But, okay, cool. We can give you a reprieve there on the game 1. Let's see how you respond now. And so I got what I wanted. I got the style points last night. Albeit I like some more points on the board, but it is what it is. Let's see this series progress. Let's see if they can just win the next 3 games in relatively decent fashion too. Also, not just like by 3 here and by 4 or 5 here. I want to see Detroit dominate Orlando these next couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, I think the next series matchup against Cleveland, like, I would pick Cleveland to win that series right now. Like, Cleveland's got to be looking at themselves.
Cleveland's whole. Yep, they're whole right now. They're whole.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to be looking at themselves saying, we finish off this series quick against Toronto, or even if it goes 5, it goes 6, whatever. Like, they've got to like their chances against Detroit the way Detroit's looked.
Yeah.
And then at that point, if you get to an Eastern Conference Finals, like, you take your chances.
Yeah. Speaking of Cleveland, they're up 2-0 against Toronto. I say dominated this series, right? They pretty much just controlled the series. I'm not shocked necessarily. Because last year against Miami in the first round, they dominated them too. So the Cavs were a good first round team. They do this up in the first round. After Toronto, I gave them a little bit of a pushback, but no, 2-0, big takeaway.
I think that Cleveland's just a bad matchup for Toronto. Toronto's not a great scoring team, so I mean, like, not a great shooting team. No Emmanuel Quickly. I think Cleveland's size is giving them trouble, and James Harden's played great. So I mean, like, not that him playing great in the first round like sheds the label of not a playoff performer.
Absolutely.
Or anything
Come on now.
like that. But still, I think that they're having a lot of trouble guarding both him and Mitchell. And then they have the size. Mobley's played it really well. And look, we had questions before the season about Toronto, like, would they be able to shoot well enough? Would they be able to score well enough? And if Brandon Ingram is going to struggle from the field like he did in game 2, I mean, it's going to be a sweep. They need him to go out there and score 25 or 30. In the first game, he was efficient, but he didn't get that many shots. In the second game, he got plenty of shots, and it was terribly inefficient. So I don't see them going much further than 4 or 5 games if he's gonna shoot that way.
Harden does look locked in. I will say that.
Yeah, he looks good.
And you want to see that in the next round, and then possibly the next round. And I will say about Cleveland, because most I don't trust them. They are also very whole, very healthy. Mitchell's been relatively quiet. I mean, I'm sure he has a couple games here and there, but it's been the Harden show so far, which is a good thing, because now no excuses here. This team should get to the conference finals.
Yeah,
they should. They're that good, and they're healthy. Everybody's back, so no excuses here for the Cavaliers. This is it. This is the window, bro.
And one more note. I mean, they were a 60-plus win team last year, so it's not as if they're just some average 4 or 5 seed. I mean, like, they were a 1 seed last year, and they're a better team now. So
they were a 6-6 win team last year with the same team they have right now, and they added James Harden.
Yeah.
So Again,
Yeah.
there's no excuse. They're not getting a pass there because they're 4 seed. Okay, so stop all that. All right, next one, 3-6. Knicks Hawks tied at 1. See, you get the bet. Game 2, the Knicks they show the untrustworthy stuff.
Yeah.
It is what it is, bro. Knicks fans get mad at me all the time. Oh, you pick on the Knicks. This is the shit. Why? Game 2. Don't come at me when I'm looking at. I know how to watch basketball. I've been watching for years. Okay, I don't trust you. Your takeaway.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to trust it. I mean it had a very Indiana-like feel from last year's playoffs
Yes,
too.
it did. It did. It
Where
did.
they had a game 1, and I said to my buddy, like, it's hard to win this series now if you're the Knicks, because you basically have to win 5 out of 7 games, because you had that game 1 and you gave it away. So you played well enough for 40 minutes to win the game, and now you've got to go win another game on top of that just to make up for the fact that you threw that one. So I mean, my big takeaway was I didn't like Mike Brown's rotations at all. I said that while the game was going on to my buddy, who's a diehard Knicks fan. I'm like, you know, you look at the Lakers. Rui Hachimura played 43 minutes last game. Luke Kennard, I believe, played 42 minutes in that game. LeBron was at like 38, 39 minutes. I don't know what Mike Brown's doing, making sure that Deuce McBride and Landry Shamet and Jordan Clarkson get all these minutes. I mean, their starters basically have to be in the 40-minute range. I know the knock was always on Thibodeau playing guys too much, but I think the knock was in the regular season. The problem was him playing Mikal Bridges 45 minutes in a December game against a tanking Charlotte team last year. It wasn't for what he did in the playoffs. That was the problem. The thought was that they were out of steam. He doesn't need to be watching guys' minutes. I get that Cat and Brunson were in foul trouble, so that that accounts for some of it. I get it. But really, you don't love seeing how expanded the rotation was in a game that was a 1-point game.
Right.
So you don't love that. I don't love that the offense was just basically Brunson going 1-on-5, just like it was under Thibodeau. It's just basically 4 guys standing around him trying to make a play. Now, granted, the shot that he missed is a shot that he makes all the time, so it's not that one specific shot was a bad shot, but it wasn't efficient shooting for the game. And there's a lot of things that happened down the stretch. I mean, OG missed 2 free throws.
Right.
I actually don't get on. I mean, I get on Bridges for missing the shot at the end of the game, but when I was watching it live, I thought he's got to go straight to the rim. But then when you watch the replay, you have Daniels with a straight line to the rim, and then you also had Jalen Johnson like pretty much in lockstep with him.
And you got a good look too. You got a good look.
Yeah, so I mean, like it looked worse live, and then when I rewatched it, I went online and I slowed it down like frame by frame, and I'm like, he's not getting to the rim there, and if he does, there's going to be half a second left. There's going to be a play at the rim, and he's most likely getting blocked because they're going to have 2 really good defenders contesting the shot, and I doubt that the refs are going to call foul in that situation. So I mean, I don't necessarily get on him for that. I mean, he didn't have a good shooting game in general, Bridges. So I mean, like, him and Brunson could certainly shoot better. That's not ideal, but I think the biggest problem is just blowing the lead, being way too cavalier with the lineups, not having enough ball handling on the floor, which led to some turnovers. I mean, look, you have that many live ball turnovers that turn into 2 points at the other end. Like, it's hard to win those games, and that came back to bite them at the end.
Look, I still think they win the series. Let's be clear about that. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, but the Hawks play house money. They're not supposed to be here. Okay, so they can fuck around and just win. Even a split here in Atlanta is good for the Hawks, because then you won New York for it. Now they couldn't win New York again. You know what I mean? But because the pressure's on New York here, not Atlanta. And I'll say right now, if the Knicks lose this series, Cat's getting traded. There's no question Cat's getting traded, and they're going to be the loudest to go off Giannis, without question. Okay,
yeah,
you can't bring his team back. And for the record, Cat's got to demand the ball now. You got to demand the fucking ball. It's ridiculous. Okay, this team is small. Okay, the Hawks are small. Why are you not posting these guys up and taking to the basket?
Yeah, I mean, look, some of that is definitely on Cat. Some of that's on Brunson or whomever is not getting him the ball in the post, and some of that's on Brown, not just sticking him in the post every time. But I mean, you would imagine that if they run pick and roll with Brunson, Cat's got a mismatch no matter who they try guarding
Yeah,
guarding
yeah.
him. So I mean, like, their biggest guy is Okongwu, and Towns is bigger, stronger, more physical than he is. They really don't have a great matchup. Their best matchup really is going small and playing Kuminga at the 5, which is kind of how they got back in the game when it seemed like the game was going to get away from them with Okongwu in foul trouble, and they were trying to play Mo Gay a little bit, and obviously Jock Landale's out and he's hurt and not playing this series. So they don't really have a good size answer for the Knicks. But yeah, like I want to see them isolate mismatches better. The way that Atlanta down the stretch, it seemed like every time they were getting a bucket, the guy guarding him was Jalen Brunson. But again, that's something that we talked about. We've talked about this for a year, that it's hard when 40% of your starting lineup is not a good defender, and Cat and Brunson. And I think Cat's actually played okay on defense, but Brunson is still not a good defender.
It's
So
horrible.
they find him every time. They find that mismatch, and so he's got to score. He's got to be efficient to make up for the defense that he's going to play at the other end.
Well, game 3 is tonight, so we'll see what happens. All right, finally, last series of the Eastern Conference, Celtics Sixers tied at 1. I'm not surprised that Philly stole one. Boston always does this. They have one dud in a series. It reminded me of the Heat Celtics series 2 years ago, the year Boston won the title. It was literally the same game 2, where Miami just went nuts from 3. That was the Tyler Hero game. It went nuts. They had 21 3-pointers in that game, something like that, and he won the game. I'm like, okay, cool. But I don't expect to win a series, though, because you can't expect to just win a series on threes like that. And then Boston ripped off 3 straight after that. And look, I think the Philly team here is actually a little bit better than the Heat team 2 years ago, especially if Embiid comes back at some point in the series. But I'm not terribly shocked Philadelphia won a game here, especially the game 2. I'm not surprised at all.
No, I mean, when we did our predictions, we predicted a bunch of sweeps. Like we predicted OKC to sweep, and we predicted Detroit to sweep, and San Antonio to sweep. Now, given
we'll get there in a second.
There's an injury situation there. Without the injury, it probably would have been a sweep, but that's for later.
Right.
But in terms of Boston, like I projected in 5, because I said the way they shoot threes, they're going to have a game in this series where they don't make any threes. And I think they were like 13 of 50 from 3. I think they shot like 26% from 3. I mean, Derek White couldn't make a shot. Pritchard couldn't make a shot. It's just the way that they play, just like the way the Knicks got back in those games last year. They're going to shoot a lot of threes. And if they go cold, you're inviting a team to win the game. And also, like, Philly's got some good players even without Embiid. I mean, Maxi's really good. VJ Edgecombe, looks like a star.
Yep.
And Paul George is still playing fine. Oubre's a good veteran. So
they got a nice bench. Oh, yeah, nice little bench.
Yeah. So it's not like they're walking into the series with nothing. They're still at a big talent disadvantage, but they still have good players.
Yeah, not surprised at all. And any word on Embiid? Any word? Nothing.
I don't expect him to play in the series. But I guess stranger things have happened. But I feel like when you would read up on that sort of thing, it was always like, oh, best case scenario is like 2 to 3 weeks, which basically would bring him to maybe game 6 or 7. But again,
the thing, though,
it also depends on the nature of the appendectomy. It could also
and the first round is a drag because there's a lot of 2-day rest, something 3. So you can, if they can somehow get this thing to game 5 tied at 2, that opens the door for an Embiid return.
Yeah, no, it's possible, but it also depends on the nature of his appendectomy. 2 to 3 is like if it was laparoscopic and relatively seamless. If it was a little more intensive, then you're looking at like 4 to 6 weeks, in which case you're not seeing him in the first round. So
yeah, that's a bad timing for him, bro, to get that. That's bad timing. All right, let's get to the Western Conference. All right, in the Western Conference, 1-8 Thunder Suns. OKC up 2-0. Come on.
Yeah.
What are we doing? No surprise here. The champs are the champs.
No surprise. Although one concern is that Jalen Williams seems to have a hamstring injury again. So that's a little concern.
Is it the same hammy?
No, the other hamstring. So
no.
I guess the good news is that it's the other hamstring and not the same one that he's been fighting. But if you're gonna win a title, you want to be fully loaded, and they'll definitely get past this series. They'll probably even get past the next series.
That's what I'm saying.
They'd be playing the Lakers or the Rockets in the next series. So I mean, like, I don't even know if they need him for like 3 weeks, but still, it's a little concerning just how often he's been injured.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like they could win this series without him right now. They don't need him for this series. Okay, yeah. I can almost guarantee they can beat the Lakers and the Rockets without him as well too. Like, okay, you may get Luka back by the second round of the playoffs, maybe, and maybe it could be a little bit testy there. But I would take OKC still in that series even without Williams. Maybe in 6 games though, a little more because I mean, obviously having stars there versus lack of stars here on the other side. Yeah, but they're on the good side of the bracket. And they're avoiding San Antonio, Denver, Minnesota until the conference finals. So they can, for the most part, get to the conference finals without Jalen Williams. I think honestly, because they're loaded that way. So they're okay. They'll be okay. All right, 4-5 Rockets and Lakers. This is the shock of all. Lakers up 2-0. Game 1 winning, not a shock because no KD. I expect that to happen. You have LeBron, so you should be able to get your game there. But game 2, bro. Game 2 is where I'm like, whoa, okay. Yeah, so Greg was right. Houston's not that good. Your thoughts on this series, man?
But I mean, I still pick, even with not loving Houston for a long time now, I still pick them in 5 because I'm like,
so did I.
With no Luka and no Reeves, I figured like that's got to be pretty easy. But
you think KD will lose? Well, look, if KD plays game 1, maybe they wouldn't win these 2 games. But
yeah, but also like I don't know how healthy he was in game 2. So I mean, if you're just factoring in that he's going to be compromised for the rest of the series, like they're in a bit of trouble. Now I'm not ruling them out of this series. I mean, Houston could still win in 6 or 7. Just given how short the Lakers are. I mean, from what I heard, Luka's not close to returning. Like I don't think you're going to see him in the first round.
Dude. This player sucks with all these injuries, dude. I mean, come on. Embiid out, Luka out. Wemby gets hurt in game 2. I mean, Cade came in limping in. This sucks, bro. Jalen Williams got hurt last night. This sucks.
It's a long physical season, and these games were played really hard. So I mean, it's they take it up a notch in the playoffs, which is why we love watching the playoffs. But conversely, because they're playing so hard, you're more likely to have an injury. I mean, like when watching Detroit and Orlando last night, I'm like, you didn't see regular season games like this. Yeah. I mean, these guys are diving all over the place. I mean, they're going for it. Whereas in the regular season, it's like, would that guy have made that rotation? Would he have gotten over and gotten that block, or would that have just been a concession basket? So with how hard they play, it's kind of not surprising these guys get injured, and then it just becomes who can be the healthiest when it's all said and done.
Right. Do you pick Lakers to win the series though? Are you Houston still? Well, not 6. It'll be in 6 or worse.
It's a coin flip. I mean, I guess if I had to put money on it, I mean, I would take the Lakers, given that they've got a 2-game head start. But I mean, I still think that Houston should make a series out of it, just given what the Lakers are missing.
Right. Oh, by the way, breaking news: AJ DeMonta declared to go to the draft. So
I mean, he should. He's going to be the first overall pick.
Yeah, so but saying it's official now. It's on record now. So
yeah. So I mean, going back to college wouldn't be very smart, given all the endorsements and the money that the number 1 pick gets.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, I'm totally with you. All right. To me, the best series of the first round. I said it's going into the playoffs, and I still stand by it. 3-6 Nuggets, Timberwolves tied at 1. I am not surprised whatsoever. Look, Denver should win this series regardless, but as you know, and I'll say this again. I told my buddy this yesterday. If Jokic wins the title this year for some reason, it would be one of the most impressive runs to get there because he had beaten the tough Timberwolves team in the first round, beat the Spurs in the second round, beat OKC most likely in the third round, and then beat probably a combination of Celtics, maybe Knicks, maybe Pistons, whatever, maybe Cavs. It'd be up there with Dirk. Not quite Dirk, 2011, but it'll be up there. So 1-1 series, I'm not surprised. Minnesota's they're a thorn in the paw, man. They are.
Yeah, I mean, we expected this to be a little bit of a longer series. I mean, I picked Denver in 6, which I guess I'll stick by. But I mean,
that's no problem with that.
But as I said last time, if Minnesota won the series, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, like, I think Denver's got some issues. I mean, like, I don't know that Aaron Gordon's completely healthy. They don't have Peyton Watson. So, I mean, like, if Aaron Gordon is going to be, limping around the floor, they need a full squad to go to the finals for Jokic to have his Dirk moment. And I don't know that he's going to get that help. So, I mean, that is a little concerning. And also, like, Minnesota's not scared of Denver, and they also match up pretty well with them. So I mean, this could be a 6-7 game series.
Well,
With
Denver 6 is the lowest it goes, the lowest. But every scenario I have in my head, it has Denver winning the series. Period. Is there a scenario Minnesota could win the series? Yes, but it's unlikely.
Yeah, it's unlikely, but it's not out of the realm of possibility.
No, not at all.
Because they've beaten them before, and they have a lot of confidence, and they defend hard. And Denver's not a good defensive team, and they've got to be good on offense. And if they're turning the ball over, and Aaron Gordon's not completely healthy, then there's some limits there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I missed that game tonight. At least I'll probably catch the end of the game after the movie's over. We'll see.
I mean, I'll still take Denver in 6, but I mean, it's gonna all these games.
No, I wouldn't change this yet. Denver could have won that game 2 also. So I mean, it is what it is. All right, finally, last series here. Another one. This, I guess a little bit of shocker, but not really. Spurs and Blazers tied at 1. Look, when we finish that game 2, this is not even a conversation. Okay, let's stop. We're concerned though. He's still in protocol. They play tomorrow night on Friday. There's been no word on whether or not he'll be back or not. So Portland, listen, you're the Blazers. You're not a bad team. There's a sieve. There's an opportunity here to grab some wins here. You can't control the narrative, but it is what it is. You want to get another game? He may not play game 3. There's your opportunity.
What if he doesn't play game 3 or 4 or 5? What if
That's what I'm saying. I still think San Antonio wins the series, but there's the opportunity to win it.
Yeah, even without him, I think San Antonio wins the series. But I mean, there's the possibility that they have to win it without him, and he gets hurt a lot. Obviously that's a freak thing that happens. But guys play hard. They're going for loose balls. Going for rebounds.
He cares, dude. That's why I love the guy. He cares. He cares.
Yeah, it happens. But unfortunately, with all the injuries that we're seeing, now it does give a sliver of opportunity to a Portland team that we thought, they'll just get swept. And they probably would have if Wemby hadn't gotten hurt. But now that he's hurt and we don't know when or if he's going to play again in this series, it makes it interesting at least.
My guess is that he won't play game 3. That's my guess.
Oh, yeah, I think
they'll play it safe.
I think he's definitely out for game 3.
I think they're going to play it safe. And even if he's close to, even if they clear him or in their mind, they'll say, let's let him rest one more day, just be safe. All right, so game 3 is tomorrow, right? So game 4 would be Sunday. If they win game 3, they'll keep him up game 4 also too. And I think they'll play game to game.
Yeah.
And game 5 will be on Tuesday.
But that's assuming he's healthy. He might not clear protocol, and then they don't.
No, I'm just saying, even if he's close to being healthy,
they're
going to play it by ear with him. They're not going to force him in there. If they're going to avoid it, if they're going to win without him, why rush him back? It's the same thing with the Lakers and Luka and Reeves. Why rush him back? You just got 2 games reprieve.
Yeah.
If I'm the Lakers, I don't need to rush these guys back until you have to.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, how they're going to play it.
It's possible. You could see any number of these teams rush guys back that they weren't expecting just because of how the series went in the first 3 games. So I guess anything's possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he's not going to play, I mean, the door's open for Portland because now you don't have that big defensive presence in the center. Now Avdia can go to the rim. Scoot Henderson can go to the rim.
What a game for Scoot on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the ceiling basket that clinched the game. Basically, was that Robert Williams alley-oop. I mean, that doesn't happen if Wembanyama's there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a little bit of a question mark. I still think San Antonio is better, but it's an open.
If let's say Williams doesn't come back in the series, as we sit here, I'll take San Antonio in 6.
Yeah.
Portland has to prove to me they can do this. They got to prove it to me. There's an opportunity there to me. You're going to do it. So you got to prove it to me.
If Wemby's out the entire series, I would still say San Antonio in 6, but I would still give Portland another game.
Yeah, absolutely. We're on the same page here, man. Good job. All right, man. One more thing we got here. We got a couple awards that were awarded this week in the NBA. No surprises here because we had, I believe you and I both were on the same page. Wemby, we just mentioned a little while ago, wins unanimous Defensive Player of the Year. No surprises there, of course. Well deserved.
Yeah, and he's probably going to win that award, assuming he plays 65 games and stays healthy. He's probably going to win that award every year going forward for the next 4 or 5 years, if not more.
It'd be well deserved, right? Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm with
you.
And then, of course, Kellen Johnson, Noah Spur, wins the 6th Man of the Year award. You and I both had him on our awards last week. Same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the conversation is going to be, oh, Hawkes had more points, had a lot more points, but it's like, look, Keldon Johnson was playing a role on one of the best teams in the league, and also set a Spurs record for points off the bench, and I mean that includes guys like Ginobili. So I mean, like, even though he didn't score as much as Hawkes did, I've got to look at it by more than just points.
Yeah, I agree. Impact matters to me.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm a Heat fan. Mystery the Hawk has bullshit. No, sorry, we ain't doing that. It's Keldon Johnson. I had him here too, also. Assuming me close. So there you go. There. Anything else we left? If we get out of here, anything else?
Just, day to day with the playoff games. Every day something happens. It's exciting. So
yeah. So we'll definitely check in. I say again, I would say follow Greg on X, but again, his account has been enveloped by some bullshit.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll get a hit soon.
We'll see if it comes back one of these days.
Yeah. So Greg, good job as always, man. We'll see you next week, obviously, as we move forward into the first round of the playoffs, man. Good job.
Sounds good. See you soon.
You got it.